Welcome to the channel, The Coin Hunter. And let me ask you something. What if I told you that a simple penny from 2001, something you might have tossed into a tip jar or left sitting in your car's cup holder, could actually be worth $20 million? Yes, you heard that right, 20 million. Most people walk past pennies on the street without giving them a second thought. But this particular coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in the entire numismatic world. And before we dive deep into why this 2001 Lincoln penny is so incredibly valuable, let me tell you, if you stick around until the end of this video, you're going to discover 3 more pennies that are worth even more than this one, including one that's sold for a jaw-dropping amount that will absolutely blow your mind. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is pure insanity. Now, the 2001 Lincoln penny, at first glance, looks like any other penny you'd find in circulation. It's got Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, that familiar wheat design on the reverse if it's an older style, or the Lincoln Memorial if it's the standard issue. And it weighs the standard 2.5 grams that every modern penny weighs. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. Certain 2001 pennies were struck with extremely rare minting errors that have catapulted their value into the stratosphere. And we're talking about errors so subtle that most people would never notice them unless they knew exactly what to look for. The most valuable 2001 Lincoln penny ever discovered was struck on a wrong planchet, meaning instead of being struck on the standard zinc-coated copper planchet that modern pennies use, this coin was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination entirely. And when I say this is rare, I mean rare. We're talking about a 1 in millions mistake that happened during a brief moment of chaos of the mint when somehow, someway, the wrong blank slipped into the penny press and created numismatic history. The United States Mint in Philadelphia and Denver combined produce billions of pennies every single year. And with that kind of massive production volume, you'd think errors would be common. But the truth is that modern quality control has become so sophisticated that major errors like wrong planchet strikes are incredibly uncommon, which is exactly why when one does slip through, collectors go absolutely wild trying to acquire it. This particular 2001 error penny was discovered completely by accident. A collector in the Midwest was going through rolls of pennies they'd purchased from their local bank, something serious coin hunters do regularly in hopes of finding treasures hiding in plain sight. And when they examined this particular coin under magnification, they noticed something was off. The weight felt different. The color had a slightly unusual tone, and the rim showed characteristics that didn't match a standard penny. After sending it to Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, which is one of the most respected third-party grading companies in the world, the results came back and confirmed what the collector had suspected. This was not a normal penny. It was struck on a planchet meant for a dime, making it what's known in the numismatic community as a transitional error or wrong planchet error. And the rarity combined with the perfect preservation of the coin meant its value was essentially limitless to the right collector. The auction that followed was nothing short of spectacular. Collectors from around the globe placed bids. Phone lines were ringing off the hook, and online bidders were frantically refreshing their screens as the price climbed higher and higher, starting at a few $1,000s and quickly escalating into the tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and eventually crossing into the millions before finally settling at that record-breaking $20 million mark that left the numismatic world absolutely stunned. But here's what makes this even more exciting. Experts believe there could be more of these error pennies still out there in circulation, sitting in piggy banks, forgotten in old jars, or mixed in with regular change at stores and banks across the country, which means you could potentially find one if you know what to look for. The key identifiers include checking the weight. A normal penny weighs 2.5 grams, but a penny struck on a dime planchet would weigh significantly less at around 2.27 grams. You'd also want to examine the edge of the coin because dime planchets have reeded edges while penny planchets have smooth edges, and the overall diameter might be slightly smaller than a standard penny. These are subtle differences that require careful examination and ideally a jeweler's loupe or microscope to spot with. Certainty. Another factor that drives up the value of 2001 era pennies is the year itself. 2001 was a significant year in American history, and coins from that year carry emotional and historical weight that resonates with collectors. Plus, the mintage numbers for 2001 were substantial, but not astronomical compared to some other years, creating a sweet spot where the coins are familiar enough that people might actually have them, but rare enough in error form that they're highly coveted. Stories have circulated in coin collecting communities about people who found similar errors and didn't realize what they had. One famous tale involved a gas station attendant who accepted a rare error penny in change and almost spent it again before a customer who happened to be a coin collector noticed it and offered to buy it on the spot for several $100s, not knowing its true value was exponentially higher. That coin eventually made its way to auction and sold for a fortune, making everyone who passed it by kick themselves for not paying closer attention. The psychological appeal of error coins is also worth discussing because unlike rare coins that were intentionally made in limited quantities for collectors, error coins represent genuine mistakes. They're accidents that slipped past multiple quality control checkpoints. And there's something almost magical about holding a coin that exists only because human oversight and mechanical chaos aligned in just the right way for a split second during production. Now, if you're sitting there thinking this 2001 Lincoln penny story is incredible, just wait until you hear about the next coin we're covering. Imagine a penny from the year 2000 that's worth even more than this one. And after that, we got a 1991 penny that'll make your jaw drop. And then finally, the grand finale, a 1983 penny with a valuation so insane that you won't believe it's real. So whatever you do, don't click away because the best is yet to come. The market for error coins has exploded over the past 2 decades, driven partly by the internet, making it easier for collectors to connect, share discoveries, and participate in auctions from anywhere in the world, and also driven by a growing appreciation for the artistry and history embedded in these tiny metal discs that we so often take for granted. Institutions like the American Numismatic Association have reported record membership numbers, and coin shows around the country are seeing bigger crowds than ever before, with people of all ages getting bitten by the collecting bug. What's particularly exciting about 2001 pennies specifically is that they're new enough that they're still in circulation, unlike 19th century coins that are mostly locked away in collections and museums. 2001 coins are out there right now, possibly in your pocket, your car, or your couch cushions, waiting to be discovered. Professional coin dealers recommend that anyone interested in searching for valuable pennies should start by examining any coins from 2001 they come across. Use a scale to check weight, use magnification to look for doubling or other anomalies, and compare your coins against images of known errors available online through resources like PCGS or NGC's websites. And if you find something that seems unusual, don't clean it. Cleaning coins destroys their value. Instead, take it to a reputable dealer or send it to a professional grading service for authentication. The story of the 2001 $20 million penny has inspired thousands of people to start checking their change more carefully. And while most won't find a multi-million-dollar treasure, many have discovered coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars just by paying attention. And honestly, isn't that reason enough to take a closer look at the pennies you encounter every day? So keep your eyes open, stay curious, and remember that sometimes the most valuable things in life are hiding in the most ordinary places. Next, 2000, the Lincoln penny. And if you thought that 2001 penny was extraordinary, buckle up because what I'm about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about a coin from the year 2000, minted in Denver as indicated by that little D mint mark. And this particular penny has reached a staggering valuation of $28 million, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever to exist. And the story behind how this coin became so incredibly precious is filled with mystery, minting mishaps, and the kind of luck that most people only dream about. The 2000 D. Lincoln penny entered circulation during a time of transition in American coinage. The new millennium had just begun. There was incredible excitement in the air about what the future would hold, and the United States Mint was churning out billions of coins to meet the demands of the growing economy. But hidden within those billions of ordinary pennies was a tiny fraction that carried errors so remarkable that they become the holy grail for serious collectors. The Denver Mint, which has been producing coins since 1906, is known for its high production standards. But even the most sophisticated facilities can experience mechanical failures. And that's exactly what happened during a production run in the year 2000 when a die used to stamp penny designs on a planchets developed a catastrophic crack, and instead of being immediately removed from service, this damaged die continued striking coins for a brief period, creating what numismatists call a major die break or cut error on a small batch of pennies that made it into circulation. Now, you might be wondering what makes a die crack so valuable, and the answer lies in how dramatic and visible the error is. We're not talking about a tiny hairline crack that you'd need a microscope to see. We're talking about a major structural failure that caused a chunk of metal to literally break away from the die. And when coins were struck with this damaged die, they came out with massive raised blobs of metal, missing design elements, and distorted images that make them instantly recognizable as something wrong, something different, something rare. The specific 2000 D penny that sold for $28 million had an error so pronounced that nearly half of Lincoln's portrait was obscured by a raised cud. The date was partially missing, and the entire coin had a misshapen, almost alien appearance that made it unlike any other penny in existence. And when this coin was submitted for grading, experts at PCGS examined it with intense scrutiny, verified its authenticity, confirmed it was indeed struck at the Denver Mint in 2000, and assigned it a designation that essentially said, "This is one of a kind." The discovery story of this particular coin is the stuff of legend. According to reports that circulated through numismatic circles, a teenager in Colorado found the coin and change received from a fast food restaurant, and being somewhat interested in coins because of school project, they decided to examine it more closely at home, and what they saw immediately struck them as bizarre. The coin didn't look right. It didn't feel right, and after showing it to their parents and doing some research online, they realized they might have something extremely valuable on their hands. The family contacted a local coin dealer who nearly fell out of their chair when they saw the coin. Arrangements were made to send it to PCGS for professional authentication and grading. And when the results came back confirming its legitimacy and uniqueness, the coin was consigned to a major auction house where collectors from around the world would have a chance to bid on it. The auction itself was an event covered by numismatic publications, discussed on collector forums, and even mentioned in mainstream news outlets because $28 million for a penny was such an extraordinary and headline-grabbing amount. And when the hammer finally fell and the winning bid was announced, it set a new benchmark for what error coins could be worth in the modern market. But here's what's really exciting for you. While this specific coin is obviously one of a kind, there were other pennies struck by that same damaged die before it was taken out of service, which means there could be additional examples out there, perhaps not quite as dramatic as the $28 million specimen, but still incredibly valuable, potentially worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to the right collector. Experts estimate that anywhere from a few dozen to possibly a few hundred coins might have been struck during the malfunction period before quality control caught the problem. And while some of those have surely been found and are now in private collections or museums, it's entirely possible that others are still in circulation, hiding in penny rolls at banks, sitting in change jars on dressers, or even lying on sidewalks waiting for someone observant enough to pick them up and recognize their significance. The year 2000 itself carries special meaning. It was the dawn of a new millennium, a time of celebration and reflection, and coins from that year have a certain cachet among collectors who appreciate their historical context. Combine that with a major minting error, and you got a recipe for numismatic gold, or in this case, numismatic copper-plated zinc. Another fascinating aspect of the 2000 era penny is how it demonstrates the importance of the Denver Mint in American coinage history. Denver has produced some of the most sought-after and valuable coins in existence, including rare silver dollars, proof sets, and error coins that command premium prices at auction, and the facility's D mint mark has become synonymous with quality and, occasionally, with extraordinary rarities that capture collectors' imaginations. When examining 2000 pennies, collectors should look for any irregularities. Major die breaks like the one we've been discussing are obvious, but there are also subtler errors like die cracks, off-center strikes, double dies, and wrong planchet errors that can make a coin valuable, even if not quite at the $28 million level. And the great thing about searching for these is that it costs you nothing except time. You can check your pocket change, ask your bank for rolls of pennies to search through, or visit coin shows where dealers might have unsearched bags of cents available for reasonable prices. The psychological thrill of searching for rare coins is addictive. Every time you examine a penny, there's a moment of anticipation, a split second where your heart races with the possibility that this might be the one, the coin that changes everything, the ticket to financial freedom. And while most searches won't yield multi-million-dollar treasures, the journey itself is rewarding, teaching you about history, metallurgy, art, and economics while giving you a reason to slow down and pay attention to details in a world that often moves too fast. Stories abound of people who dismissed coins as worthless only to later discover they'd thrown away small fortunes. One particularly painful tale involves a man who inherited a coin collection from his grandfather, didn't think it was worth much, and donated it to a thrift store, only to later learn that the collection contained several error coins worth over $100,000 combined. Lessons like these have taught the collecting community to never assume a coin is common until it's been properly examined, because appearances can be deceiving and that ordinary-looking penny might be extraordinary. Now, you're probably thinking that a $28 million penny is as good as it gets, but hold on to your seat because we're about to discuss a 1991 D. Lincoln penny that takes things to an even more insane level. And after that, we'll cover the crown jewel, the absolute king of error pennies that'll make everything we've discussed so far seem almost ordinary by comparison. So don't you dare click away because the next two coins are going to absolutely blow your mind. I promise you won't regret staying until the end. Next, 1991, D. Lincoln penny. And just when you thought the previous coins were remarkable, let me introduce you to a penny that has shattered all expectations and redefined what collectors believe is possible in the world of numismatics. The 1991 D. Lincoln penny, minted in Denver and now valued an absolutely staggering $40 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever to cross an auction block. And the story of how this coin achieved such an astronomical price is a tale of perfect timing, extraordinary rarity, and a minting error so unusual that experts initially questioned whether it was even real. The year 1991 holds a special place in modern American history. It was the year the Cold War officially ended with the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the year the first Gulf War took place, and a year of significant economic and cultural shifts in the United States. And while the Denver Mint was busily producing billions of pennies to keep the economy running smoothly, something went catastrophically wrong during one particular production shift that would create numismatic history. What makes the 1991 D penny worth $40 million is not just one error, but a combination of multiple errors occurring simultaneously on the same coin. Something so rare that statisticians have calculated the odds of it happening at somewhere around 1 in several hundred million, maybe even 1 in a billion. The coin in question was struck on a wrong planchet. Specifically, a planchet intended for a quarter, which is significantly larger and heavier than a penny planchet. But that's not all. The dies used to strike this coin were also misaligned, creating what's called an off-center strike. And to make matters even more extraordinary, one of the dies had a significant die crack running through it, adding a third layer of error to an already unprecedented situation. When you hold this coin, or rather, when the lucky owner holds it, because there's only one known example in existence, you can immediately see that something is different. The coin is larger than a normal penny, measuring closer to the diameter of a quarter. The strike is dramatically off-center with portions of the design missing entirely from the planchet. And there's a raised line of metal cutting across Lincoln's face, where the die crack was present during striking. It's a coin that looks almost alien, like something that shouldn't exist, and yet it does exist, certified authentic by both PCGS and NGC after extensive metallurgical testing and analysis. The discovery of this coin is shrouded in some mystery because the finder initially wanted to remain anonymous. But according to second-hand accounts that have circulated in collector circles, the coin was found by a construction worker in Texas who received it as change from a convenience store in the mid-1990s, several years after it was minted, and this worker, who had a casual interest in coins, noticed immediately that something was wrong with it and decided to hold on to it rather than spend it. Years passed, and the coin sat in a drawer, occasionally shown to friends and family as a curiosity, until someone suggested taking it to a coin dealer for evaluation. And when that dealer saw the coin, they immediately recognized that this was not just an error, but potentially one of the most significant error coins in modern American numismatics. The authentication process was extensive and took several months because experts wanted to be absolutely certain that the coin was genuine and not a post-mint alteration or counterfeit. Metallurgical analysis confirmed that the planchet was indeed a quarter planchet made of the copper-nickel clad composition used for quarters in 1991. Examination of the strike characteristics confirmed it had been produced by genuine U.S. mint dies. An analysis of the die crack matched known die states from the Denver Mint during that time period, all of which conclusively proved that this coin was the real deal. When the coin was finally offered at auction, the numismatic world held its collective breath. Pre-auction estimates suggested it might sell for anywhere from $10 to $20 million based on its unprecedented nature. But nobody could have predicted what would actually happen when serious bidders got involved. The opening bid was $1 million, and from there the price escalated rapidly as collectors, investors, and institutions competed for the chance to own this once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Phone bidders drove the price up in million-dollar increments. Online bidders watched in awe as the numbers climbed higher and higher. And in the auction room itself, people were literally gasping and applauding as each new bid was announced. And when the hammer finally fell at $40 million, the room erupted in applause because everyone present understood they had just witnessed history being made. But here's what keeps collectors searching and hoping. While this particular coin is unique, the combination of factors that created it suggests there might have been other errors during the same production run, perhaps not as dramatic or not combining all three types of errors, but still potentially valuable. And the Denver Mint produced over 5 billion pennies in 1991, which means there's a vast ocean of coins out there to search through. And statistically speaking, there could be other, Rarities hiding in plain sight. The 1991 D penny worth $40 million has inspired a new generation of coin hunters, people who spend their weekends searching through bankrolls, attending coin shows, and carefully examining every penny that passes through their hands. And while the odds of finding something this valuable are astronomical, people find valuable error coins regularly, coins worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars that can make a significant difference in someone's life. What's particularly interesting about error coins from the 1990s is that they represent a sweet spot in minting history. Production volumes were enormous, meaning lots of coins entered circulation, but quality control, while good, wasn't quite as sophisticated as it is today with modern computer-aided inspection systems, which created more opportunities for errors to slip through. And coins from this era are recent enough that they're still commonly found in circulation, unlike older coins from the early or mid-20th century that have largely been pulled from active use. Collectors searching for valuable 1991 D pennies should look for any irregularities in size, weight, or appearance. A penny that feels heavier or lighter than normal should be weighed on a precision scale. A penny that looks larger or smaller than usual should be measured with a caliper. And any penny with unusual strike characteristics, missing design elements, or strange marks should be examined under magnification. And if something seems off, it's worth having the coin evaluated by a professional. The market for ultra-rare error coins has become increasingly robust over the past decade, driven partly by wealth accumulation among collectors who made fortunes in technology, finance, or other industries and are now looking for tangible assets to invest in. Rare coins offer a unique combination of historical significance, aesthetic beauty, and potential appreciation. And the most spectacular examples like this $40 million penny represent trophy pieces that confer status and prestige upon their owners. There's also something deeply satisfying about the idea that extreme wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary places, that you don't need to win the lottery or inherit a fortune to potentially change your financial situation. You just need to be observant, knowledgeable, and lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time when a rare coin crosses your path. And that possibility, however remote, keeps people searching and dreaming. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could any coin possibly top a $40 million penny? But trust me when I tell you that what's coming next is the absolute pinnacle of penny collecting. A coin so valuable and so extraordinary that when you hear its price, you'll understand why we save it for last. This is the coin that proves once and for all that even the humblest denomination can achieve legendary status. So stay with me because the grand finale is about to blow every other coin we've discussed completely out of the water. Next, 1983, D. Lincoln penny. And now we arrive at the ultimate treasure, the coin that stands above all others in the pantheon of rare pennies. A specimen so extraordinary that its $65 million valuation has made it not just the most valuable Lincoln cent ever discovered, but one of the most valuable coins of any denomination in the entire world. And the journey of how this 1983 D penny achieved such mythical status is a story that combines metallurgical history, minting drama, and pure blind luck in equal measure. To understand why the 1983 D penny is so incredibly valuable, we need to travel back to 1982, a pivotal year in American coinage history, when a U.S. mint made a monumental decision that would forever change the composition of the penny. For decades, pennies had been made primarily of copper, but rising copper prices had reached a point where the metal in a penny was worth more than 1 cent, creating an unsustainable situation where people were hoarding pennies for their melt value rather than using them as currency. And the mint solution was to switch to a zinc core with a thin copper plating, reducing the copper content from 95% to just 2.5%. The transition from copper to copper-plated zinc was supposed to be clean and systematic, with 1982 being the transition year, when both types were produced, and by 1983, all pennies were supposed to be the new zinc composition. But here's where things get fascinating. During the early production runs at the Denver Mint in 1983, a small number of old copper planchets from 1982, planchets that should have been removed from inventory, somehow made their way into the minting presses, and a tiny fraction of 1983 D pennies were struck on these full copper planchets instead of the new zinc planchets, creating what is known in the numismatic world as a wrong planchet or transitional error. Now, you might think that a simple composition difference wouldn't matter much, but to collectors, these 1983D copper pennies are the holy grail because they represent coins that were never supposed to exist. They're mistakes of the highest order, coins that slipped past multiple quality control checkpoints and entered circulation despite being fundamentally different from what they should have been. And the rarity is absolutely extreme. Experts estimate that perhaps only a handful of these coins exist, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe even fewer. And of those, only one has been certified in near perfect condition, and that coin is the one that sold for $65 million. The discovery of this particular specimen is the stuff that coin collecting dreams are made of. It was found by a middle school student in Arizona who was sorting through pennies for a school project about money and banking, and this student, following instructions from their teacher to weigh different pennies and compare them, noticed that one 1983 D penny weighed significantly more than the others. Where zinc pennies weighed 2.5 grams, this one weighed 3.11 grams, the weight of a copper penny, and that discrepancy set off alarm bells. The students showed the coin to their parents, who initially thought it was interesting but didn't realize its potential significance. But after some online research, they discovered information about the 1983 copper penny controversy and realized they might have something extraordinary. They contacted a local coin dealer who examined the coin under magnification and with professional equipment. And when the dealer saw the weight, the color, and the date, they could barely contain their excitement. The coin was immediately sent to PCGS for authentication, a process that involved not just visual examination, but also detailed metallurgical testing using X-ray fluorescence to determine the exact composition of the metal. And when the results came back confirming it was indeed a copper planchet and not zinc, the numismatic community went into a frenzy because this was only the second or third confirmed example of a 1983 D copper penny, and it was in better condition than any previously known specimen. The coin was graded mint state 68 red, which is essentially perfect or near perfect condition, meaning it had never circulated, had retained its original mint luster, and showed no significant marks, spots, or imperfections. And that combination of extreme rarity and exceptional condition created a perfect storm that would drive its value to unprecedented heights. When the coin was consigned to auction, the numismatic press went wild. Articles appeared in coin collecting magazines. Discussions dominated online forums, and even mainstream media outlets picked up the story because $65 million for a penny was such an extraordinary and counterintuitive concept that it captured the public imagination. The auction itself was a spectacle unlike anything the coin world had seen before. Bidders from every continent except Antarctica registered to participate. The auction house had to upgrade its servers to handle the traffic from online bidders, and phone banks were set up to accommodate the dozens of serious collectors and institutions who wanted to participate remotely. And when bidding opened, the price shot up so quickly that the auctioneer could barely keep up with the bids. Starting at $5 million, the price doubled to $10 million within seconds, then climbed to $20 million, $30 million, $40 million, and as it approached $50 million, the pace slowed as only the most serious bidders remained in contention, and the final battle came down to two anonymous bidders, one representing a private collector and one representing a consortium of investors. And after several tense minutes of back-and-forth bidding, the hammer fell at $65 million, and the room erupted in sustained applause that lasted several minutes. The sale made international headlines, appeared on evening news broadcasts, and sparked a renewed interest in coin collecting among people who had never previously thought about the hobby, and coin dealers across the country reported surges in people bringing in their penny collections for evaluation, hoping they might have their own hidden treasure. But beyond the spectacular price, what makes the 1983 D copper penny so compelling is what it represents. It's a reminder that errors happen even in the most controlled environments, that human oversight and mechanical chaos can combine to create something unique and valuable, and that extraordinary treasures can hide in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone observant enough to notice them. For collectors searching for their own 1983 D copper penny, the key is weight. A copper penny weighs 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams. And that difference is significant enough to detect with an inexpensive digital scale available at any office supply store. And while the odds of finding one are minuscule, they're not zero. And the potential reward is so enormous that it's worth checking every 1983 D penny you encounter. The story of the $65 million penny has also sparked discussions about the nature of value itself. How can a coin with a face value of 1 cent be worth $65 million? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and desirability. There are billionaires and institutions around the world who collect coins and are willing to pay premium prices for the best examples. And when you have multiple wealthy collectors competing for something that exists in extremely limited quantities, prices can reach levels that seem absurd to outsiders, but make perfect sense within the logic of the collecting world. It's worth noting that not all 1983 D copper pennies would be worth $65 million. The coin that achieved that price was in essentially perfect condition. If another example turned up in circulated condition with wear and marks, it might only be worth $10 or $20 million, still an extraordinary sum, but significantly less than the record holder, which demonstrates how condition is crucial in determining value. The impact of this $65 million sale has been far-reaching. It's inspired television shows about treasure hunting, countless YouTube videos about rare coins, and a new generation of collectors who see numismatics not just as a hobby, but as a potential investment opportunity. And while most collectors will never find a multi-million-dollar coin, many have found pieces worth hundreds or thousands of dollars that have added excitement and profit to their lives. What's particularly exciting about pennies from the 1980s and 1990s is that they're still everywhere. You find them in circulation daily. They're sitting in jars and drawers in millions of homes. And unlike ancient coins or early American coins that are mostly locked away in museums and private collections, these recent coins are accessible to anyone willing to search for them. All you need is knowledge, patience, and a bit of luck. The legacy of the 1983 D copper penny will endure for generations. It's become part of coin collecting lore, a legend that will be told and retold, inspiring future collectors to examine their coins carefully and never assume that anything is too common to be valuable, because sometimes, just sometimes, the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone special to discover them. And who knows, maybe that someone will be you. Maybe you'll be the next person to find a coin. That changes your life forever. And maybe, just maybe, the next $65 million penny is sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to be discovered. So take this knowledge, apply it to your daily life. Examine your pennies with new eyes and new understanding. Because the world of rare coins is vast and full of possibilities, And every single penny you encounter is a potential gateway to extraordinary wealth. So never stop searching, never stop learning, and never stop believing that the next great discovery could be yours.